bang, bang. Hanging out with the youth today, my younger brother in his ST. It's actually quite tasteful. The seats are actually quite comfortable, the ride's pretty compliant. Anyway, the opposite end of the spectrum to a go-kart is we're off to pick up the little nugget that I found whilst trawling eBay, and it is an E300, the OM606 donor car, but it's a limo. It's done like 62,000 miles, which is barely broken in. Might just sell it, try and make a quick profit, or might try and recover it back to Cornwall somehow and then pull the engine out for a project. So let's go pick it up. This is hilarious. So I've picked it up, the E300 limousine. Probably seen more hen parties than a Chippendales gig. It does have a cup holder. Electric windows. Woo! Spare doesn't look like it's ever been fitted. Only the worst shit for this shit box. First fare in the limo. VIP style with the saggy headliner. Love it. So the affliction, the addiction strikes again. Here we have an E300 Turbodiesel OM606 donor car usually. Usually these things are rotten beyond belief. The only place that they need to go is to the scrapyard. And as you can see, the chap I got it from, he already started that process. He high-ab lifted it onto his truck, basically because he was going to go banger racing. But, let's precariously walk up the ramp here. I had a quick look at it. I think it's worth trying to save it. These are great daily cars. I mean, look, the interior's pretty clean. It's got an Alcantara headliner. Someone spent some money on this. And if I pop the hood, let's see what we've got under the front. It does have a gearbox fault, but I'm hoping it's not too drastic a fix. Look at that. I mean, that does not look like a car that's done 160,000 miles or whatever's on the clock. So let's get it off the truck. See if we can get a sneaky quick fix on the gearbox. I'm not that hopeful, but I have heard that sometimes a flat battery is enough to put the transmission control unit into limp mode. You won't believe this, guys. So I took it to Medlin's, we plugged it in, came up with numerous fault codes for the transmission, reverse selector, solenoid. I cleared the codes, come away thinking time to do a whole load of Googling, and you never guess what. Driving back from there, all gears, changing smoothly, seemingly absolutely fine. So fingers crossed that that's it fixed. The gearbox issue isn't really an issue. I think it was all related to that flat battery. Somebody else has let go of a really lovely car. I'm never really that lucky with cars. It's brilliant. I mean, that's not too shabby, is it? So, the new E300 has been for MOT, and it's actually a really easy fail sheet. We've got a couple of drop links to replace, front and rear. I think there's a brake hose on the rear and a track rod end. No mention of rust whatsoever, which is remarkable for one of these things. So I've just had a look. It is a little bit wet. You can probably see a little bit. But, I mean, this all looks like almost underbody plastic. Normally, these are bright red with rust. And look, I mean, there's a tiny little bit here. Tiny, tiny little bit for one of these. It's clearly had some new brake lines. It's clearly been a pretty well-maintained car. It's even pretty clean on the engine. A new alternator hiding up in there. Result. So get those few bits done and get a ticket on it. So unfortunately, the gearbox does have an internal fault. Put a new battery on the car, and it still, every now and again, kicks me out of all the gears into a transmission limp mode. However, look at this, stock E300 722.6, good working box. Missing the bell housing from a conversion. So I'm gonna rip the conductor plate out of this, new transmission oil, new filter, New plug, because these can also be problematic and leak into the wiring. So fingers crossed it's not too bad, and by not changing the whole transmission we can just get to it all in the car from underneath, drop the conductor plate out, pop that in, and fingers crossed it won't be too bad. Here we go, one of my favourite jobs. Stripping down an automatic transmission. Lovely. Check out all that lovely greasy fluid. Anyway, this is the notorious conductor plate that I think the speed sensor maybe has failed. I believe speed sensor is this, something around there. I don't really know. I mean, who the hell imagined that this controls your gears in an automatic? Dark arts, dark magic. Anyway, I've switched over that whole assembly into the bottom rather than separating the plastic conductor plate off of this bottom metal section. So fingers crossed, we're just waiting on the pan gasket, a new oil filter, and the plug. So that mega messy job is starting to get a little less messy. We've got the new filter for the transmission fluid in there. I've cleaned up the plug. I have bolted in the new plug with new seals, etc. that comes with it. Just a pan to do now, and then we can put some fluid in it and see if we have a solution and if we have gears. Fingers crossed we do. And then look at this. How wasteful is this car industry, really? I mean, look at all this stuff. Imagine trying to have this machined and made. That's all just scrap. Yay! We have gears, and this time I'm actually pretty confident that they're going to stick around. They're not going to disappear on me, and that's because I've done some hardware changes, not just changed the battery and hoped for the best. So people, as you can see, you can still get a W210 OM606 turbo diesel car, use it as a daily for pretty sensible money. I think even with the oil filter, the new plug, all that side of things, ignoring the fact that I already had a conductor plate, because obviously I already had it, even if you had to go and buy one, I think I'm up to about £1,300 for this car, and you've got a 606. Now this engine's probably worth what I've spent on this whole car all day long, and I've got a car to go with it. So let's see, have we got all the gears? Still, shift, shift, and into fourth. Look at that, amazing. Pretty easy fix, to be honest. Couple of hours on the ramp, switch that conductor plate in, few serviceable components, and we're away. So I'll drive this for a couple of days on slightly shorter journeys, check the fluid in the transmission, as they can swallow a little bit over the first few journeys, and then I'll put the anti-tamper plug back in, and that's it. So probably the next thing to do is to get far too excited about wheels for it, because now that it works, now it's got an MOT, obviously the next thing is try and improve how it looks. Oh, I should probably finish off the bits of damage on the top of the doors first, shouldn't I really? Or maybe I'll get the wheels first. We'll see. But for now, epic daily. For cheap.